Hi, Chris here. In this video, let's take a look at my new ND filter from K&F Concept, which is a variable ND filter with 9 stops that goes from ND8 all the way up to ND2000. The reason why I bought this filter is because in my Mac filter adapter ring video, I presented this filter also from K&F Concept, which is a 5-stop ND filter that goes from ND2 to ND32. But in sunny conditions like we have today, I'm using it right now, I cannot open the aperture as far as I want to blur out the background even more. And when taking pictures, I noticed that I cannot extend the duration of the shutter speed to blur out the surface of the water, for example. So let's take a look. The first thing I've noticed is that the packaging of my new filter is now much more compact than the packaging of my previous filter. Also, the plastic case inside is now much more practical than the rounded plastic case of the filter before. On the side of the filter there is this scale with the white and black dots. The black dots are for wide-angle lenses. As you can see, this filter doesn't have hard stops at the end of the scale. So you have to be more careful not to pass the min or max range on the scale. Now let's try it out and swap the old filter on my camera with the new filter. Notice that for recording the video I set the shutter speed to 1/50th of a second. Because of shutter priority mode, the aperture is set automatically to f4.0. And as indicated by the zebra stripes, you can see that the waves are already overexposed. Now let's swap out the filter and use the maximum setting for normal lenses. For this, let's take off the Mac filter adapter ring so you can see what it looks like without any ND filter. Notice how the aperture changes to f11 and starts flashing because it cannot close any further. For mounting the ND filter to the Sony RX100 Mark VII, you will need something like the Mac filter adapter ring. I made a separate video about the Mac filter adapter ring and I will link to it in the video description below. Now the aperture opens to f2.8 and even starts flashing, meaning that it's underexposed now. So let's dial it back a little bit. Okay, now it changes to f3.2 and stops flashing. And here's the setting on the ring. So in video mode, the new filter helps to get the background more blurry. Next, let's check how it helps with photos. For this, I created this comparison chart where I took 19 photos, one for each setting on the filter ring. To make the photos comparable, I set the camera to manual mode and the shutter to 1/50th of a second, the aperture to f2.8, ISO to 200, white balance to daylight, and the dynamic range I switched off. This results in an overexposed photo when the filters are set to the lower ranges. When set to minimum, the new filter compares to ND4 on the old filter. In the middle of the scale, it compares to ND16 on the old filter. 2 white dots further on the ring, we reach the maximum setting of ND32 on the old filter. At the border between the white and the black dots that are meant for wide-angle lenses, you see the corners getting darker. Advancing to the next black dot, the pattern gets even darker. At the max setting, the pattern clears up and we get a usable image. So if you reach the end of the white dots, you would skip the black dots and go directly to the maximum setting. If you haven't seen my other video, I would like to point out that because of its small size of 52 millimeters, you can see the corners in the photos when you're zoomed out completely. This won't affect video mode, and as soon as you zoom in photos, you won't see them either. And finally, here are two photos I have taken with the filter at its maximum setting. This photo was taken with an aperture of f11, the shutter at 4 seconds and ISO at 100. As you can see, the waves are smoothed out completely. This is another example with the same settings but the shutter at 2.5 seconds. Okay, to sum it up, I like the results I get from this filter and its flexibility. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. And if you found this video interesting, please leave me a like. For more videos like this, subscribe, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.